Hi, do you ever feel like you've got too much to do and not enough time to do it in? Of course you do. Do you also ever feel like time is somehow speeding up and accelerating, and we're being compelled almost to get faster and faster just to keep on top of everything that's going on in our lives? Well, welcome to a new video series that I'm going to be creating in the coming weeks. It's going to talk about, the concept of what if you could hack time. Now, this is a topic that I've spent my life learning about. It's one of my sweet spots in terms of subject matters, and I'm going to, in this video, start the ball rolling by talking about topics that we're all familiar with: procrastination, distraction, and how we can become more focused. In this course, there's going to be some very practical uh, tips and hacks that you can go away and apply. Some of it will be very familiar to you, but you know what it's like. It's often necessary to be reminded at the right time about certain key principles, but also being able to actually find an easy way to really deal with some of the things that we know are the problems that we face sometimes. Um, and to understand, a bit more about human psychology and what are those hidden things that often don't get discussed. Really, the elephant in the room, often that, it's all very well, people can create some improvements in their lives, but not really to the extent. I want to be here for people who really want to make some significant transformations and to actually really grab hold of that phrase, how to hack time, because believe me, there are different levels of attacking this topic, and I'm going to definitely go on the practical and day-to-day level, but there are also bigger topics that I will come to, and also, like I say, ways of actually going in and hacking our existence in order to get more from our time. So as I say, today the video is really about we all know we would like to have a clearer mind, get into flow state, and we have the best will in the world when we get up in the morning often to just get a certain bunch of things done. But by the end of the day, we often find that those important things that we wanted to get done somehow haven't happened, or somehow haven't happened to the degree to which we wanted them to happen. Now, I'm going to mention some things that you may well, as I say, be familiar with, but it's we've got to get some foundations out on the table at the beginning of these discussions. So, I'm sure you're aware of the principle of the 80/20 rule. Why do I bring that up as number one? Well, it's one of the foundation levels of, what's known as Pareto's law when we think about our time, because we can straight away start to play with the concept of, okay, if we've got 24 hours, but we started to chunk that down into our awake time. Well, what does Pareto's law, what does the 80/20 rule say? It says that 20% of our time, 20% of our effort typically will yield 80% of what's important to us, 80% of the results. So being able to hack that 20% and make sure that we do that 20% and identify that 20% is where we're already starting to make some progress, which, if I'm honest, most people don't actually go to the deep level of nailing this. Why is that? Well, one reason is because people don't necessarily spend the time to really go deep and to really carve out some radical honesty about what they really want. Yes, a lot of people set goals, they set targets, they set ideas of what they want. But when it comes to really caring and really turning up each day and doing this kind of 80/20 principle, which is to identify what are the things that can be done in a given day that actually make an impact, actually make a dent in the key things that are really important to oneself. Uh, there's an art to doing this, and I think anybody who thinks that that's easy and it's just a flippant point that I've made, well, maybe this video isn't for you and this series isn't for you, but I think a lot of you know what I'm getting at is we know these ideas, but how do we actually really make sure that we do what we often resist? So this leads us on to the second point, which is around procrastination, distraction. These are the things that can come up. Obviously, a typical one is also unexpected, the unexpected in an average day. It's always a great excuse that anybody can roll out to themselves at the end of a day. Well, I wasn't expecting X to happen. I didn't know my computer was going to break. That's maybe one of the more reasonable excuses, but certainly we all know that unexpected things happen. And certainly within this course, in some of the coming episodes, I'll be giving you certain systems and certain ways that you can organize your day that can certainly build in the unexpected, build in space for everything you need to do, but also give you the best opportunity to get your mind in a state, in a flow state. So I'm going to give you a clue here to a lot of what I'm going to be teaching in these coming courses. Um, a lot of it is to do with how do you actually get your mind into flow state? How do you get yourself focused so that you actually know you're only really being present and doing one thing at a time? And there's a lot actually that happens on a subconscious level. If, for example, if you have multiple tabs open on a computer, I think most people do that. I mean, just be aware that that on a mental level has a many thoughts that are left open rather than being able to really fully do one thing and have only one tab, for example, open on your computer. It's a revolutionary idea, I know, and probably one that a lot of people don't even like the sound of. But these are the kinds of things where what I'm talking about is being able to, how can you get into a position where you can do what you don't want to do? And what I mean by don't want to do is when the resistance, when your behavior shows you that you're not getting the important things done, when you're really honest about how you spent your day, then you're starting to actually find a way to actually use this 80/20 rule and make it win, make yourself win at that. I mean, one of the other things to bear in mind when we are going about an everyday situation, we're often led by what we would call our conscious mind. Our conscious mind is constantly making decisions for us. So it's trying to give us pleasure, it's trying to avoid pain. When we get overwhelmed and when we have too much to do, and when we don't know where to start, what often happens in the mind is that mind is thinking, oh, I've got pain. It's too much. I can't handle it. And therefore, what can often happen is it will want to get a quick pleasurable sensation, a hit of dopamine, for example, which is often, why people will go to their email and just answer a bunch of emails instead of tackling an important proposal, an important email that needs to be drafted, which will take time because it's sensitive, it needs a bit of effort because it needs, it's delicate, it could go the wrong way, you want to get it right, perfectionism comes in. So all of a sudden, dopamine is what the conscious mind wants. And all of a sudden you'll find, I mean, I've done this over the years, like, suddenly you find, oh, why am I suddenly cleaning the oven or cleaning something or finding some distraction, going on to LinkedIn and looking at a post at just the wrong time. I mean, if you really want to observe yourself on an average day, just have that extra level of awareness. If that's the one thing you take away from today's video, build your awareness muscle of watching your behavior when you're wanting to tackle something important and when you somehow find yourself distracted, and then get that awareness of what you're doing in that moment and observe it, and just start to build a smile around seeing how we behave, how we get distracted. We all know that we do. So, what I want to kind of leave you with at the moment is, well, on one level, there's the concept of delayed gratification. So we all know that when the mind is talking about, pain and pleasure with our internal decision making, we can have within that awareness level that thing that I talked about at the beginning, which is what is it really that are your big goals for the year, for the 5 years, for your life, or even for that day. Get 80/20 rule about your individual day. Arsene Wenger, the Arsenal football manager, was obviously very successful at Arsenal. He used to train his football team, and one of the messages he used to give them was, look, every time you're doing anything, consider how that anything is contributing to you lifting the Champions League trophy. Now, I don't think he particularly did that well in the Champions League in terms of actually winning it. But I think the principle very, very, very much applies, which is if you know you want to win the Champions League, and you're getting distracted, if you're doing the washing up and you're in a state of stress or you're kind of angry, okay, well, that's fine. But being able to relate all of that, if you're certainly getting distracted and not doing what you need to do, like train or rest at the right time, get to bed at the right time, then there's some sort of level of awareness muscle that you can build, which can give you the opportunity to start to intervene when your conscious mind is making these decisions between pain and pleasure. Because one of the biggest things that you can do to give yourself a favor is to learn how to build the delayed gratification muscle. Most people in our society these days are weak on that. So if you really want to get, a competitive advantage, it's learn delayed gratification and how to apply it. I'm going to bring out many, many videos about these kind of topics, about getting practical about how you do these things. I will leave you with one idea alongside this, which is something you might need to follow up with me as a separate conversation. But I've been talking very much in this video about the conscious mind. I'm very aware that when we're having these dialogues and when we're going about our day-to-day activity, we're operating at different levels in the mind, right? So I've talked a lot today about the conscious mind, and I'm talking from a very conscious level. I'm trying to make it very practical, right? But there is also, I've touched on the idea of our behavior. And our behavior is driven by our subconscious. It's going on in the background. It's running on autopilot. So it's our subconscious that is often involved in making those decisions about actually, you know what, I'm overwhelmed. I've got too much to do. I'm just going to go and get a dopamine hit by feeling productive, by opening a bunch of emails, by getting something easy done, by ticking 5 things off my to-do list, even though those 5 things don't contribute to my main 20% of activity. If I'm a salesman, which I am, I've done sales for 30 years. A salesman or a saleswoman or a salesperson should be selling. And what is the selling part of their 100%, right? Their 20% is being in front of customers, outreaching to customers, writing proposals, writing emails, doing that. And yes, to a certain extent, refining those messages, but not strategizing, not supporting somebody else, etc. Right? So what you might take away from this video is certainly thinking about uh, what are the activities that really are your 20%? How can you build up the awareness muscle of being able to observe your behavior and when you're getting distracted? And number 3, I would say, think about, well, there's 4. Number 3 is delayed gratification. Start to get to grips with what is delayed gratification and how you can build that muscle. Number 4 is around this subconscious point that I'm making, which is around observing your behavior. As you get more awareness of how you're behaving and not necessarily achieving things that you want to do, you can also think about reprogramming and rewiring your subconscious, because your subconscious is running on autopilot and you can rewire that. There's a process called Psyche. I'll put an introduction to Psyche video link in the description on this video below. That's something you can certainly watch a bit more information about. You can learn how there's a whole process called Psyche. I'm a facilitator of that. I work very collaboratively with people to identify what are those blocks and how to reprogram them in the wider context of, what do you want and how are things now and how would you like them to be? So I'm not going to dwell too much on that topic right now. There's quite a lot in this video. There's going to be many more videos coming. I'm making these available for free because I just feel like this is my topic. This is something I can give back. It's something I can share. I want it to be useful for you. And I know also, yes, there will be certain other topics within this whole picture that you can come to me and talk to in more detail to make those extra deeper changes that can really power you into 2025 and beyond. And I look forward to hopefully getting to know you better over this course, all about hacking time. Do give me feedback on the comments. Do like and subscribe them so that you get the new videos as they're released. They should be coming out about once a week. And so I will leave it there and wish you very well. Have a great day. Remember, it's 80/20. What are your 20%, and how can you get more of that 20% done so that you can just guarantee it, become relentless, and be able to do what you don't want to do, become a master of your time and become a master, therefore, of your destiny and what you can actually achieve and what you can create in your life. Signing off, all the best. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Bye.